Hi, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jen, and I make homemaking videos. Today, join me in my bathroom while I clean, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the house that we live in. We bought this house almost 4 years ago. We had been renters for many years prior to that. In fact, we've always rented. My husband never intended to buy a home and really didn't want to. Well, when I found out that the landlord that we had was once again selling his property, I started to look through Facebook and Craigslist and everywhere that I could look to find us another rental. And I was looking and just, I really could not find anything. And, with a bigger family, which we had a lot of our kids still living with us at the time, it's very hard to find a place that's big enough to rent, or a landlord that's willing to rent to you, because he feels, or they feel, that, a larger family will destroy their home. Well, I got frustrated and just started punching in a bunch of keywords. And lo and behold, this little house with the red roof popped up in front of me on Craigslist. I was on the computer with my daughter at the time and sent her the link, and she said, "Hey, you should go for it and see if it works out." So I sent an email to the person that owned the house, and a month later, it was ours. Well, we came to look at it prior to buying it, and we pulled up, and the drive was about three hours. It was quite a drive here, and we got out of the car, and it started to downpour. Well, we didn't know where the key holder was on which door, so my husband went to one and I went to the other, and I was the first one in the house. And I looked around and I said, "Oh my gosh, what in the heck have I done? This is not what I expected." So I let him in and, told him, this was a wasted trip. I don't even know what we've even bothered with this for. And he said, "Well, let's look around." So the living room, was doable. The floors were fairly nice. The ceiling had been pulled down because the electricity had been rerun. There was a huge hole upstairs in the hallway floor where they had pulled a chimney out and recovered that spot on the roof. They had taken the big fireplace out, which was in the pictures that we had seen, but was gone now. It was dirty. It was very abused. The walls were drawn on upstairs. And the bathroom, which I'm now cleaning, was pretty much non-existent. The bathtub was outside in the front yard. The toilet had been busted up. The sink was unhooked. The only thing that was run through were the Nupax lines, and there were boards laying over the floor. And I just shook my head. What even is this? Like a joke? And my son showed up because he had actually moved up to this area prior than we had. And he came in and he said, "You guys can do this. You guys can put this place back together." And he convinced my husband that we could do this. And I said, "If this is what you want to do, I'll email him and I'll let him know." And I said to him, "Leave the pellet stove, leave the bathroom sink that's in there," because the counter was real granite. Just leave whatever's in there and we'll deal with it. So a month later, we were signed, and, we put some money together. And since we were so far away, we decided that we were just going to come up here and we were going to fix it. So when we got here, lo and behold, there was no running water. The hot water heater had been pulled. It was a disaster. I sat on the stairs and I bawled my eyes out because the next day I had a moving truck coming with all my stuff, and this place needed some major work. So that day we pulled down where somebody was converting the downstairs to be another bedroom. We pulled that wall down to enlarge the living room, which, half the living room I use as my office. And, just put our thoughts together. And that night, because we couldn't stay here, my daughter was also buying a house up here, and we used, and they were purchasing from the same person that we did, and we used their key code, and we went and stayed at their house that they were buying because they weren't due to come up for another 2 days. And my daughter said, well, there must be something good about the house. And I said, yeah. I said, there was something good about the house. The best thing about my house is when we were driving away and I couldn't see it no more. And she said, oh, come on, you're making me sad. I said, no, seriously, it's really, really bad. But the next day, I, kind of got over myself and put on my happy face, and we came back and I washed floors and cleaned things up and figured out what we were going to do with the bathroom. And as you can see, it's been put back together in the best way we could quickly. And even that took a little while. The guy came to turn the water on, and we had to put a hot water heater in. We were given one from the person we purchased the house from. Come to find out that needed parts. It needed things to be fixed. So it was, the water thing had become a huge issue. But, we stuck to it and pushed through. And, even though the bathroom isn't perfect, it's very livable. And, we've got things that we still need to do, but we wanted everything to be functional and clean. So, we bought a new toilet. We pulled out the one that was left here because there was basically nothing left to it. I installed the sink. I installed the tub. I literally pulled the tub from outside. My boys brought it upstairs and I plumbed it in and, just put flooring down. I built the floor that I'm standing on because, like I said, there were only boards sitting on the floor. The boards had to be pulled and things had to be cut. And then I called down the measurements to my husband. He cut the flooring and I installed it, as afraid of heights as I am, because you could, it was too high for my liking. But we installed it, and then my son-in-law was good enough to give us the flooring that we have in the bathroom, and we put that down. We had some other tiles down for a short time, but, it was better to have something more durable down in the bathroom. And, I installed the sink myself, put it all back together the way it was supposed to be. The biggest project that we have left to do is we need to put a surround in the tub. Right now, I use shower curtains as the surround, but, later on down the road, I need to get a surround into the tub. We're really trying to figure out the best way to do it, because when I put the tub in, we came to the conclusion, or I did, that when somebody had cut into the floor, they cut out 3 inches or more of subfloor. Well, the drain that goes into underneath my tub wasn't going to have that. I had to actually build a platform to put the tub on and to level everything so that the tub would be up above the pipes so that it could be plumbed in. Otherwise, the drain was too low in the floor and there was no way that it could go in, which was a learning curve for me because, for one, I had never done plumbing, and for two, I didn't expect that it wasn't just going to go together and slide in the way it was supposed to. So it really took some doing to get that tub back in there and cleaned up and all the things. So it's still a work in progress, but I think eventually we're going to get a new tub. The tub is plenty clean and, it's usable and it works properly and drains properly and all that. It's just that the surround wasn't with it. And at the time, we had outspent what we thought we needed because we had to, get people to come work on the hot water tank. And the first guy that came and we paid him, he put it in there and he hooked the wires up wrong. and we had somebody else come over, and they hooked it up wrong after we had paid them. And the third time was a charm. We found some people that actually knew what they were doing, and they hooked it up completely correctly, and the rest was history. It was finally working. We had hot water, and I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie A Home of Our Own with Kathy, I think it's Kathy Bates, but if you haven't seen that movie, you ought to watch it, because that's who my kids call me. For the longest time, they were calling me Francis Lacey, because, here we were putting this house back together, and, just everything needed doing. This toilet that I'm cleaning is actually the third toilet that we've been through, because when we came here, there was a broken toilet in the bathroom, but they had left a toilet for us down in the kitchen, of all places, to put upstairs. So we put that one upstairs, and I don't know exactly what happened, but eventually that toilet cracked from the bottom to the right up through the middle of it. I don't know why or how or whatever, but we did have one night that we had gone from extreme cold temperatures, and the temperatures came up to 75 in December, and that's when I actually noticed the crack in the base of the toilet and up the tank. We ran it that way for a while, and it never leaked, but we replaced it with another one, and then my husband decided that he wanted one that was all just one piece, and it was higher up and bigger. So that's what we did, and that's how we ended up with this toilet, which I actually really like, because I like the flush mechanism on the top like it is. But I believe the last thing that I actually did in here work-wise was I put just some temporary trim around the bottom of the floor and stuff. I have new trim that needs to go up, which is going to be going up fairly shortly. But yeah, that's pretty much how it came to be with the house and why we're here, and all that. We went for, I think it was a month with no mirror in the bathroom. That actually drove me nuts. I had a little Dollar Tree one that I kept in my room, and that actually somehow got broke, and I just told my husband, I said, you got to get a mirror in here, because it's crazy. So the mirror was added, and one thing that I do have, and you can't actually see it in the video, I don't think, it's behind where I'm sitting now. We have a door for the bathroom that's been sitting in our bathroom for going on, I'd say about a good 2 months, and it needs to go up on the door, because when we came here, there was no door on the bathroom, and the one that we have, we actually had to do some cutting and getting it in place and all kinds of weird stuff. So it just needs a new fresh door. But beyond that, I don't regret coming here at all. We do get a lot of snow and all that, but I like the house. I like the neighborhood that it's in, and I think everything did work out. So now when I drive away, I'm not so glad to not be able to see the house. But anyway, at the end of this video, I'm actually going to include some pictures of the bathroom when we came to look at the house before we decided to buy it. We decided to buy it that day, but I took pictures of everything before we left. The first picture is where the where the bathtub should have been sitting, and the second picture is on the side where the sink is, but we'll get to those later on in the video. So, do any of you have any interesting stories about your home? If you do, leave them for me in the comments below, because I would love to hear them. And somebody sent me an email the other day asking what these green bottles of product are that I'm using, and they're by a company called Safely, and I believe that they're made by I'm going to say Kris Jenner and somebody else, but I can't remember who the somebody else was. But I'll put that in my description below afterwards. I buy mine at a store that we have here in Maine called Hannaford. And so far I've used everything I think by them that I know that they make, which is they make a multi-surface cleaner and they make a glass cleaner, and I do have their hand soap. The only thing that I could not find that I wanted was dish soap. They didn't carry that. I really don't know why. But I actually really like the product, and it's an all-natural product. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. It's just something that I use. I enjoy trying out different cleaners and, testing them out and seeing if they work. And I do like that it's all natural and, safe for the pets, safe for, Bella to be around, not so dangerous to get on your hands or whatever, because I'm not a huge fan of wearing gloves to begin with, but I know a lot of people do. I don't. So another story about this bathroom when we were working on it to put the floor in is my son-in-law had come over to help my husband with the floor. And he and my husband were up in the bathroom, and he is the one that cut around the edges to cut the subflooring out where it didn't get completely removed. So he and my husband were up there, and he kept telling my husband to be careful because, they were walking on the beams, and what was below that was just the drywall ceiling underneath it. So my husband kept wanting to vacuum up the mess that was being made so that it could be cleaned up before we laid the floor down. And, he kept moving around, and, my son-in-law kept telling him, be careful, be careful. And all of a sudden there was this big crash. And I was downstairs, and I look over, and there is Greg's leg hanging out of the ceiling. Now, at this point, Bella is screaming at the top of her lungs, running around with her hands over her ears, screaming and screaming. The dogs are barking. My son-in-law is saying, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? And here's my husband just laughing and laughing. And I look up, and lo and behold, his leg is half an inch away from this huge spike nail. And I tell him, you better be careful because, you might not have hit that on the way down, but you're going to on the way up if you're not careful. So my son-in-law helped pull him up. I pushed his leg up, and we got him up out of the ceiling and got him out of the bathroom. And, they just, no. Let's just say that I sent my son-in-law home. I sent my husband downstairs to cut measurements, and I'm the one that ended up putting the floor in. My son-in-law did a great job, cutting around the edges, getting all that stuff out of the way. But when it came to the floor, I decided I was going to be the one to put it in, and did. But, and I kept my husband away from the beams. So for tonight, that's the end of my how we got the house story and the terrible bathroom story and how my husband fell through the ceiling story and so forth and so on. I'm going to put some music on, and as promised at the end of this video, I'm going to put up some pictures of what the bathroom looked like prior to us fixing the bathroom to what it is today. So enjoy the music. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll talk to you at the end of this video.
burning blue. I know my heart will never wander. It doesn't get better than you. I'm so happy that you're mine. I think about you all the time. I'm keeping you forever in my heart. We're never running out of love, 'cause you will always be enough. If life's
So, as promised, here are the pictures of the bathroom before we took the house. The area where the wall is pulled out is where the tub should be. All the way to the left is where the PEX lines are coming up through, which are the blue and red lines for water. And yeah, you can see that there's board laid over the floor. The next photo is of the sink area. It's not connected whatsoever. The PEX is up through, as same as with the tub. There was just nothing there. It was just all sitting on a piece of wood. I didn't get a picture of the side with the toilet because at the time I stuck my head around the corner of the door and took the pictures. I really did not dare step on that floor. So that's the end of that. And that is the end of my story, and this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.